I'm no tech genius, but I knew if I wanted my business to crush it, I needed a website now. Thankfully, Bluehost made it easy. I customized, optimized, and monetized everything exactly how I wanted with AI. In minutes, my site was up. I couldn't believe it. The search engine tools even helped me get more site visitors. Whatever your passion project is, you can set it up with Bluehost. With their 30-day money-back guarantee, what do you got to lose? Head to Bluehost.com. That's BLUEHOST.com to start now.
Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you hustle, you can't seem to get ahead financially?
I work 50 hours a week, and we're still living on the poverty borderline.
I went to college. I did what I was supposed to do. It makes you feel like a failure.
There is no bigger hassle than dealing with a squatter.
They physically assaulted me.
Someone can just move into your home, and once they're in it, you won't believe what an absolute hassle it is to get them out. Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you hustle, you can't seem to get ahead financially? You're not alone. In fact, 61% of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck. 40% withdrew from their already insufficient 401ks just to avoid losing their home. Oh, and speaking of that home, did you know that if you leave it for any real length of time, that you run the risk of losing it outright to a squatter? Yeah, you heard me right. Someone else can just move into your home. And once they're in it, you won't believe what an absolute hassle it is to get them out. So tonight, I've put together key moments from 2 recently taped episodes to illustrate the hustle and the hassle. First up, the hustle, with Jordan and his wife, Letitia.
I'm extremely frustrated with our financial situation.
My husband and I work 50 hours a week, and we're still living on the poverty borderline.
The American dream is the American nightmare. I've always thought this is a country where you do the right things, you go to school, you get the degree, you will be able to have enough to live a decent, prosperous life. Right now, it's not feeling like that.
I feel like I have been cheated.
I am living paycheck to paycheck. I went to college, I did everything I was supposed to, and yet I'm $100,000 in student loan debt. We are struggling. If I lost my job right now, we would be homeless. You need $80,000 to $100,000 a year to survive. Retirement is so far away, I can't even think about it. It's Mount Everest, and I'm at the bottom. I'm being crushed by the system. My wife wants to have another baby, but we just can't afford it. Only half of my family has health insurance right now. My income is not keeping up with inflation. We're paying $100 for the same $40 worth of groceries, and the rent went up as well. Gas price has gone up.
I'm maxed out on my credit cards for gas, for daycare, to get groceries. I pawned my laptops. I pawned my shoes just so I could pay a bill. It really has been tremendously difficult.
I don't really see a light at the end of the tunnel. If this continues, I'll be working until I'm 80.
The system is broken and rigged. I've cried many nights of not having money, but I never imagined living in times like this.
Well, thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is frustrating, right?
Yes.
Because you're both working really hard. You work an extra job, you work an extra job, and you still can't make it work.
It's a sad situation. I worked, I went to college, one of the first people in my family to do that, and I said I did what I was supposed to do. And I'm sitting here, working double, coming home every day exhausted, and then when I do the budget at the end of the week or end of the month, I'm in the red. I can't even do the things that I want to do, I love to do for my family. So it makes you feel like a failure. It makes you feel like you're not doing enough when you know you're doing all that you can do.
You feel like you're letting your family down.
Yeah.
Now, you changed jobs and took a job for $8,000 a year less.
Yeah.
Why would you do something like that?
Well, I was in the public school sector, and that public school sector is kind of broken. And I've been teaching for about 7 years, and I've seen the change in education. And I just felt like it was going nowhere. I wasn't really making an impact in students' lives anymore. And so I went to a private school where I felt like I could, but in that, I had to take a pay cut because they couldn't pay as much as the bigger public schools.
You've had your girls come to you and ask to do not extravagant things. They just wanted to do some extracurriculars at school, right? What did you tell them?
Well, oftentimes my girls do come to me and ask, Mommy, I want to do, extracurricular activities, like cheerleading. My daughter wants to do gymnastics. And when they ask those types of things, I literally have to say, I don't have the money for it at the moment. And one time my daughter, which really, it literally breaks my heart, but I really believe it needs to be said. My 6-year-old, I was picking her up from school, and she said, Mommy, can we go to the store? And I wanted to lighten the load by telling a little joke and say, well, you got the money for it? She was like, yes, Mommy, I have a quarter. And little did she know that really broke my heart when she asked that, and her response. And I had to pull it together while driving, and of course I say the same old line, I'll get paid in 2 weeks. I'll take you to the store when I get the money. So yes, I go through that a lot with my girls. I have no other choice but to tell them that same broken line, because it's true.
Y'all feel like you're letting the kids down?
Yeah, I feel guilty, and it's just angry because they told us we were middle class. When they removed us, we were getting vouchers for our kids, and they removed the voucher and told us we make too much money. And I said, how do we make too much money? Our daughter doesn't even have health care. How do we? Yeah. We can't even afford it.
Well, how do you feel when you see money being spent by the government on other things? They're spending money on migrants that are coming in. They're spending money on foreign causes. They're spending money on a lot of things, but it keeps costing more and more and more just to live here.
And it's honestly a slap in the face, because I am a taxpayer. I have to babysit every other weekend, and sometimes that's not enough. When a family doesn't need my assistance, I can't work.
I saw a leader on social media, and he was bragging about how they got $100 million more for the migrants. And I'm just like, I'm all for, legal migration, but I'm like...
And doing it the right way.
Yeah, we love everybody, but I'm like, we're being last, we're being crushed. The middle class are the ones that are hurting. That bracket where we make too much to get help and we make enough to where we still feel the pressure of gas prices.
If y'all feel this pain, raise your hand. I'm just curious, if look around. You're not alone here. And next, we're going to take a real close look at this, because I want you to see just how dire things really can get for hardworking Americans today. I've written a book entitled, We've Got Issues. We've got issues in this country, and the fact that too many parent incomes don't cover a family's basic needs speaks volumes to some of those issues. And I'm here talking to Jordan and Letitia about that fact. Now, between them, they have 4 jobs. And I want to take a look at what some of the income reality is that we're facing. 74% of Americans are stressed over finances. That's 3/4 of Americans. 70% say they need $150,000 a year to escape feeling financial stress. But yet the average salary is $59,540. People say they need $68,499 after taxes just for a family of 4 to survive with basic needs. That means there's an $8,959 deficit that most people are facing on an annual basis. And that's pretty much where you guys are, right?
Yeah. Every month we're in the red. We're living paycheck to paycheck and trying to do what we had at a season where she lost her job and I was at to donate plasma. I was trying to do anything to get money.
And you say you can't get sick, you just can't afford to get sick.
No, we can't get sick. We can't get sick. We can't, our kids can't afford to get sick either. So we're like, please don't get sick. If that cold, don't let it, don't let it be where we have to take them to the hospital.
That's sad that you're an American, you have to call a family meeting and say, okay, priority 1, nobody's allowed to get sick. I don't feel good. Yes, you do.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you do. You feel fine. You just think you're sick. You're not sick. That's tough, right?
Yeah.
And, when you take a look at what's going on, electricity, 25% increase. Auto insurance up 33%, used cars up 35%, hotels up 15%, groceries. This matters, up 25%. And this is a big one. You need $11,434 additional just to maintain the same living standard that you had in 2021. Did y'all get a raise?
No.
Between now and then? But that's what's happening. And those between 40 and 49 years old, highest credit card debt ever. Balances are averaging $7,600 because people are living on their credit cards, right? They're maxing those out. Rent is up 30%. Mortgage rates doubled. It's getting worse, not better. So what do you tell yourself about what you're going to do, how you're going to go about climbing out of this? Because we're headed in the wrong direction.
For us, we have to prioritize. We have to say something. We have bills that overlaps. The cell phones, they can wait. We got to pay the rent. That's first. Food has to be on the table first. So we prioritize. So you just tackle the major stuff and you get to the other stuff when you can.
You say you're frustrated that people aren't listening. The people that are in office aren't listening.
I tell people, if we ran our household like the government did, we'd be in jail.
But you can't go to jail because it costs too much. It costs $50,000 a year to put somebody in jail, and that system's broke.
Yeah.
And you've got two hard-working Americans here. You have children. You're working hard. They're good kids. You're good parents. But every time your daughter talks about her dreams, you got to be thinking, oh, honey.
Not this again. My daughter came to me a couple of months ago, and she remembered before her sisters was born that we used to have mommy and daughter time. She called it Girls' Day. And the last time we had a Girls' Day, it'll be this year for 7 years. I have not been able to take my teenager to have Girls' Day. I literally feel like a complete failure. Although I know that I'm not, but to her, I used to be looked at, mommy was a superhero. Like, what in the world? I'm sorry.
It's hard. I know, it's hard.
I just never thought I would be living this life like this.
Next, want to see just how badly meritocracy is being destroyed by a government that is supposed to protect its people? What I discovered may shock you. You're not going to believe what I'm getting ready to show you. I promise you, you're not going to believe this. It's never too late to make progress. If your credit is under 600, you could jump like 28 points in your first month. Kickoff is a smart, legit credit hack with no catch, no credit check, no hidden fees, and no interest. It's simple. You make on-time payments, credit bureaus see good behavior, and your credit grows fast. Start building credit immediately for only $1 your first month. With AutoPay, you never have to worry about missing a payment, so you can build credit in your sleep. Sign up in minutes from your phone. No credit check, cancel anytime. Building credit can happen faster than you expect with Kickoff. Don't wait and get your first month for just $1 at getkickoff.com/Phil. That's Kickoff without the C. Get 80% off at GetKickoff. That's KIKOFF.com/Phil. Must sign up via getkickoff.com/Phil to activate offer.
Offer applies to new customers first month only. Subject to approval. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions may apply. Point stat based on Equifax Vantage Score 3.0. Changes for Kickoff users starting under 600 who made their first on-time payment between January 2021 and March 2024. Payment and credit activity outside Kickoff can have an impact on your credit. Individual results may vary.
When metabolism functions properly, every aspect of life benefits. A powerful tool exists to optimize metabolic health. Lumen. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. By measuring breath, it determines whether the body is burning fat or carbs and provides personalized guidance for nutrition, workouts, sleep, and stress. A simple morning breath into Lumen reveals metabolic status. A tailored daily nutrition plan follows with the ability to track changes before and after meals or workouts. Lumen also adapts to hormonal shifts, including cycle changes and menopause, ensuring sustained metabolic health. Take the next step to improving your health. Go to lumen.me/Dr. Phil to get 20% off your Lumen. That's LUMEN.me/Dr. Phil for 20% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode.
I feel a lot of guilt that I can't get us in a better neighborhood. I feel a lot of guilt that I can't get the cars that we want to drive and the house that we want to have, and it's hard. When my kids wanted to go places or do certain things and I have to tell them, no, we can't afford it, that's very hard on us. I feel like I'm failing them, failing myself.
The state of our country right now is disgusting. We're definitely angry at the government. We pay taxes for illegal immigrants, for the homeless, and for people that aren't even working. And we're people that are working and are barely surviving.
I'm angry at our leadership. The American people deserve better. We're taking care of everybody. What about us? We need help. I'm angry at the system that has failed us over and over and over again. We're being crushed.
I've broken this up into the bottom 20% of income earners, the second 20% of income earners, and the next 20% of income earners. And what you're going to notice is in the bottom 20%, these people, only about 33% of them work at all. And as a result, they make about $7,500 a year. On average, that's what they earn. The next 20%, 85% of them are employed full-time, and they earn about $31,000 a year, okay? Where these people earn about $7,500. But when the government gets through with the entitlement programs, look at the difference.
Wow.
$1,000 difference. So here's my question psychologically. Why would you work? Seriously, I'll bet you in terms of net purchasing power, these people have more. Why? They don't spend money on commuting. They don't spend money on wardrobe. They don't have any overhead because they don't do anything. These people, 90+% work, and they earn $66,000 on average, but because they pay actual taxes, they only net 61. So the difference between here and here is only $11,000. We're paying people not to work. Now, is it just me? Or is the system turned on its head? And these guys are not working one job. They're not working two jobs. They're not working three. They're working 4 jobs. And they're making $1,000 more than these people who aren't working at all. You know why? Because you're paying for these people to stay home.
Yep. Yep.
What the hell? Letitia, you had a question for me. You asked, with everything around us falling apart, how do I keep a level head and not give up? That was your question. And, you know, first off, I think words are very powerful. I really do. I think language is very powerful. And everything around you is not falling apart. You have a devoted and loving husband, and you have 4 healthy children. And, I think a great philosophy in a family is to give them too much love and not enough money. And if I had to choose, I would choose the journey your children are on than some of these families where they buy them a new car when they're 16 and they do this, they do that, but they're not really involved in their lives and they're not really engaged with them. And when I hear the pain in your voice and see the hurt in your eyes when you talk about what you can't do for your daughter, I see how much you love and care for her, and that tells me that everything's not falling apart. You have some financial challenges, and I recognize that. You're all those children have, and they're damn lucky to have you too. Let's focus on what you've got working for you, and let's build on that. And we're going to give you some help in cleaning some of this up.
Yes, sir.
All right, fair enough?
Dr. Phil.
Thanks.
I want you to be glad you came here. You glad you came here?
We're so
It was an honor
happy.
to see.
Hi, Dr. Phil. We just want to say thank you for all that you did for us, all that you did for our family, with allowing us to share our American nightmare story with the world. We also want to thank Dr. Phil for Annette, our financial coach, for how she helped us.
We were able to downsize on our most expensive bills. We were paying $450 for one car. We were able to downsize that on insurance. We were able to budget together as a married couple. We were able to do more for our children. We were even able to implement more money toward groceries. And that was something that we definitely could not do before coming upon the show.
We have a savings account, and we still are on the path to home ownership because of Dr. Phil and his team.
Being on Dr. Phil and encountering his amazing staff, we definitely were able to get to a place that we are able to afford groceries, afford sports for our children, and be able to live comfortably. And we just thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Phil and his team.
Thank you so much.
Now, when we started tonight, I said we were going to dive into both the hustle and the hassle. Well, there is no bigger hassle than dealing with a squatter, and you'll see what I'm talking about coming up next. Let's cut to the chase. Your savings could be in serious trouble. When Elon Musk is out here warning us to brace for temporary hardship, you might want to listen. I trust Preserve Gold to safeguard my accounts, and I urge you to do the same. They're the only precious metals company I recommend. Are you going to sit back and hope for the best or take control of your financial future? Text Dr. Phil to 50505 to get your free precious metals guide from Preserve Gold. With gold prices recently breaking records and analysts predicting this trend to continue through 2025, you cannot afford to wait. As a bonus, you can get up to $15,000 with a qualified purchase from Preserve Gold. So don't wait. Text Dr. Phil to 50505. That's DRPHIL to 50505 today. Across the country, criminals are staking claim to the homes of hardworking Americans, paying no rent, running up utility bills, and in some cases causing tens of thousands of dollars in damages. I'm talking about squatters. Now, you may think this is isolated, but there are 16 million homes vacant at any one time in this country, and 4.4 million of them are currently occupied by squatters. And once the intruders are in their new home, there is no limit to what they will do. In Atlanta, one squatter ran an illegal strip club on the weekends and drag raced in the neighborhood, ultimately having to be removed by a SWAT team. When confronted by a property's legal owner or police, trespassers used the law in their favor, buying them time before being forced to leave by the courts. And in the case of serial squatters, once they're evicted, they just move down the block and go into a new location. And next time, it could be yours. Now, my first guest, Patty, learned the hard way. Take a look.
I bought 2 properties with a business partner. After a year, one of the renters moved out. When I was sending a handyman over, we discovered pit bulls on the porch. Then out of the front door, one of the squatters came out. She told me that she had rented the home. I told her, I'm afraid that you can't stay here. At that point, her whole demeanor changed, and she began to get a little bit belligerent.
You're gonna vacate? Oh no, of course, I'm not gonna vacate. I'm gonna let him investigate and do what he does, and once you find out I'm not fraud, then you can take the next steps with this.
I'm not gonna debate you. You can go ahead and get ready for work.
You can come back later. You can come back later. Matter of fact, I will call other people here as well, because I don't like how this is going.
On day 2, I drove by and I saw that the front door was wide open. Then the squatters came out of the back room.
Your police report states this is under investigation. So with that being said, we don't have to leave anything until the police comes back and tell us what would be the
I have every right to be in this house.
You don't have every right to be in the house at all.
I do, ma'am.
You do not.
I was astonished and horrified. They threw bricks at my car. They threw human feces at me. They broke windows in the house. They destroyed all of the walls in the house.
You don't have every right to be in the house at all.
I do, ma'am.
You do not.
You
do not, because according to my lease, me and my girlfriend owns the house.
If you
I'm not touching you, my
You are touching me.
And this lady is we're blocking you from coming in the house.
You are.
Damn it.
It's just unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, and it's happening all over.
It is. Now, Patty, you bought this as an investment. You're going to fund retirement with this. You're out working hard-earned money to make a smart investment. And so then you sold the house, right?
I had an offer and accepted it, and I went over there to have a handyman do a little bit of work, and they discovered 14 pit bulls and a mother on the front porch. And as I was walking around the back door to get in and investigate, it dawned on me, don't do this. I could be putting myself in danger.
Right. A very nice home.
It was a wonderful home in a great street.
How quickly did they seize on this property and move in?
The home had been vacant about 2 weeks. It had had a number of home showings. And I didn't really have any concept that I was at risk with having that house, posted for sale.
Were they one of the showings? How did they get in?
No, they sawed off the realtor lock, and then within about 30, 45 seconds, they can drill out the front door, replace it with their own, and now they have a key to the property.
Okay, now how is that not breaking and entering?
Well, the laws err on the side of if someone claims and has paperwork that says that they are, quote, a tenant, so they can simply have a fraudulent lease that they can download off the internet.
Okay, but once that's determined to be fraudulent, then how is that not breaking and entering? They sawed off a lock and got in. That's breaking and entering.
Well, right now, the laws do not qualify squatters in any way in the criminal court system. Once I post that they can be evicted, they have, by law, up to 24 hours to vacate that property.
Did they threaten you and actually assault you?
They did. They physically assaulted me.
We actually have a little piece of tape of that. Let's take a look.
I knew that they were doing a lot of damage inside the house. I went over and saw the squatters outside.
So you must want me to take this and break your phone, because I don't think you want me to. No, give me this.
Back up, babe, back up. Can y'all please get away? Call the police.
Inside the house, they actually put you against the wall and put their forearm across your neck.
That's right. But here's the kicker. The police showed up, and the officer said, I should arrest you because they have the right to privacy.
Okay, now, again, just call me old-fashioned, but assault and battery, if they violate you with intent to harm, in Florida, isn't that against the law?
It's against the law, but I was on their property at that point.
I don't care if you're in their church at their wedding. If they beat the shit out of you, that's a bad thing. Right?
Well, The police just don't have the appetite right now because they have been, I think, really encouraged to err on the side of renters' rights.
And again, I'm just a stickler for language, but renters pay rent. Okay, and how much rent did they pay you?
$0.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and squatters don't pay squat. Okay. When we come back, Patty says she had to wait 20 days for a judge to even hear her case. Meanwhile, these squatters had a sledgehammer party to destroy her house, and there was nothing she could do to stop them. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Well, let the police tell us we have a legal lease. Because according to the policeman, he don't know what's going on, and he needs to investigate. Right. So that's what I'm waiting on, investigation. Because I'm not leaving somewhere where I put my money in. So unless you have at least the minimum of $2,000 or at least $2,500, I'm not going anywhere until the police tells me I have.
Why would I pay you something?
Well, Patty, that's shocking here. She's extorting money. So she's saying, give me some money here, $2,500, and maybe we'll leave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To be honest, looking back on it, that's exactly what I should have done.
Yeah, well, there's a whole name for it in the squatter world. They call it cash for keys.
That's right.
You want the keys? Give me some cash, and I'll give them to you. And sometimes that's the cheapest way out. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that it's the sensible way out.
They weren't budging. They knew the system better than most attorneys and certainly the average person knows.
In the meantime, they're having a sledgehammer party in your house.
Doing drugs, bringing random people over. I mean, sometimes there were 10 to 12 people there. They were harassing the neighbors. They stole appliances and sold them. Oh, there were maggots everywhere from garbage and human waste that they had left. There were eggs thrown, mattresses, and their random goods that they had left.
Do you have any theory as to their motive for doing that kind of thing?
They were simply getting me back. In my experience, now there's no data here, but in my personal experience and others that I've spoken to, these are typically not unhoused individuals looking for a shelter over their head. That's a little bit of a horse of a different color, so to speak. The vast majority that I have experience with are simply entitled people that know that the law is on their side and they are working the system.
This isn't someone that is working hard and can't make ends meet, and they couldn't make the rent for 30 days. That's not what we're talking about.
Well, let me tell you this. So when they moved out and I was over there cleaning up, I found a budget for a 2-day weekend vacation that my squatters were vacationing. And on that budget was $300+ for a hotel, a couple of $100 for a rental car, and $230 for weed. So they had a nice amount of cash in their pocket that they could have been using to pay rent, but they were living their best life.
Well, they might have run out of weed if they'd paid rent, so. All right, next, 2 brothers who say they had squatters who actually left an animal corpse on their property. We'll meet them after the break. Nick and Tony call themselves the Sicilian Brothers and have been flipping houses here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for 20 years. They went viral after posting a video of themselves kicking a squatter out of one of their properties.
Anytime you have a property, the second it becomes vacant, squatters will fill in that void, and then you can't get them out. They're like termites.
A lot of times they're dealing with drugs, mental health, unemployment.
They know the housing and the code enforcement laws. They know how to work the system against the homeowner.
You can't fathom the damage that can be left behind from a squatter, whether it's dead animals or damage to the property or the house burns down.
We've literally picked up a mattress and found skeletons of cats.
We had a squatter who left a dog in a cage in the yard and just disappeared. The dog died.
They're eroding the American dream that somebody can have a safe first home that they can raise their family in. Hi, who are you?
I'm just waiting for a walk. Is this how y'all?
This is our house.
This is not your home.
Yes, this is. This is my house.
To be, but
Get out.
no. Call the police. Please.
Cops are calling now.
Okay, I gotta pick up. We were about to go pick up our lease.
He's doing the right thing. He's packing. Thank you, sir.
So you're detaining all of us till y'all get the story right?
These people are not somebody that just lost their job and they're down and out. These people are criminals.
Well, welcome, guys. So you're dealing with a current squatter right now.
Yeah, we are.
How many have you had over the years?
In 20 years, I've probably had a couple dozen max, but within the last 5 years, we had the dozen. So it's on the rise.
Yeah, there's an upswing.
Yes.
And there's an art to this. As Patty was saying, they know the law. They're working the system, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're using basically loopholes left and right, whether it's multiple attorneys or, they go put their retainer down with one guy and then go to the next guy, and they're just literally stalling for time.
And you guys believe that these are criminals, not people that are hard up and just trying to find a place that's warm and dry.
Because you can just look at their intent. Okay, so even in hers, the woman said, "I have a signed lease. That means I have ownership over this property." Just because of a lease, she used that terminology, one of them. So just saying, hey, just because I have this fancy paper, I now have all legal rights to this property. Not I'm renting it, not I'm staying here for a week. I have all legal rights to this property.
Yeah, this was not her first rodeo.
No.
She had done this before.
Well, as a matter of fact, when I had called the police and they were doing some investigation the very first day, the policeman said, "Patty, I have to tell you, they have just been evicted out of a house literally around the corner a couple of days ago. So these are serial squatters."
Let me ask y'all something. If some of this is news to y'all, raise your hand. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm glad we're talking about this, because the way you can wind up being victimized by a squatter is go out of town for the weekend. I kid you not. If they see your house vacant, they see you loading up, they can move in, correct?
Yes, yeah.
And you come back and they're waving this lease in your face, you don't live there anymore.
The longer that they're there, the more time they have to cause damage, to cause mayhem.
Yeah, we're seeing some of the damage you guys have found, which is not unlike what you found.
So this property, we lost over $250,000. We've paid taxes and everything just to try to get them out. And then at the end of it all, there's no slap on the wrist. She doesn't pay any fines. We can't go after her for anything. There's nothing criminal that she has done except drag out the courts.
All right, when we come back, Nick and Tony say that after ejecting a squatter, they received a call from a neighbor saying, "Just wanted you to know that your house is on fire." I'm here with Nick and Tony, the Sicilian brothers. Just describing them that way, I'd squat somewhere else. And Patty. They've all been victimized by squatters and learned the hard way that our current legal system is not always the friend to the law-abiding citizens. Now, you eject a squatter and then get a call from a neighbor that said, "You just might want to know your house is on fire." So they left you a parting gift.
Yeah.
And set the house on fire.
Yeah. Thankfully, that neighbor had known us. In the middle of the night, she called and said, "Your house is on fire.
Yeah.
There's smoke coming out of it."
And we talked about this cash for keys concept. You guys are kind of being expeditious, and you've offered as much as $25,000 to get somebody out?
Yeah.
The current one that we're in right now, we've offered her $25,000 and she's turned it down. She's still fighting us on it.
I have to say, from a psychological standpoint, what I go through in my head is what your mindset would have to be to do this, to say, I'm going to go move into somebody's house and look them in the eye and tell them, it's mine now, get out. And then if they eventually get you out, to say, I'm just going to destroy the property. It's not enough that I've lived here for free for 18 months before I go victimize somebody else. I'm going to destroy the property.
You say like what's going through their head, and I don't think much is going through their head other than just what's next. What's next? What can I do next? Right? What can I steal next?
I think one of the most fundamental principles of psychology is you don't reward bad behavior. If you're at the grocery store with your child, 2-year-old, and they fall on the floor throwing a tantrum, you don't race to the candy aisle and get some candy and go over there and say, oh, here, baby, here's some candy. You would never do that. I mean, anybody that would, some village is missing their idiot. Everybody knows you would not do that. But apparently we don't seem to keep our focus on that as a government or sometimes as a culture. But yet, when somebody does this, they break into a house and they start living there, then we do reward that.
The police are in handcuffs rather than the squatter.
Of course. And so the system is broken. We're out of time. If you want to know what is really going on in America, this is where you need to be, because I think there are things in this country that are broken. I love this country. I love America. I stand up when the flag goes by. I put my hand over my heart when they play the national anthem. And I just think that there are things we have to have the courage to talk about and be real about. And part of it is not rewarding bad behavior and standing up for the rights of Americans and those that work hard. My new book, which is my 10th, We've Got Issues, How All Americans Can Stand Strong for Our Country's Soul and Sanity, is on sale now everywhere books are sold. I believe this is the most important book I've ever written. Apparently, a lot of y'all agree with me because you've been kind enough to put it on the New York Times bestseller list already, so thank you for that. We'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.